I'm Lauren Doyle, and I'm a trust and estate attorney with Treadway, Lumsden, and Doyle. Today, I'm going to give you a broad overview of the trust administration process. This is going to be helpful to anybody who's named the successor trustee of a trust where the settlers have passed away and it's now time to distribute the assets. First things first, review the trust and make sure you are, in fact, the named successor trustee of the trust. I highly encourage you to hire an attorney to represent you through this process because there can be a lot of complexity and pitfalls that may arise. Before you meet with the attorney, make sure you get a few copies of death certificates because we're going to need this throughout the process. They take a while to arrive and we can't get started until we have these. Step 3, contact Social Security and let them know that the decedent has passed away. It's also good to contact the credit card companies and let them know the decedent has passed away so you can avoid any identity fraud. Step 4, you're required to give notice under the probate code to all parties that are named in the trust, letting them know that the trust is now irrevocable and that they're entitled to a copy of the trust. This also starts the time period for when they can file lawsuits and shortens that window for when they can file lawsuits. Otherwise, they would be able to make claims for an indefinite period of time. Step 5, you're going to be required to identify all of the assets owned by the decedents and the trusts as of the date of the decedent's death. This will be necessary for determining distribution of the assets and for filing tax returns. So once you've identified all of the assets, you're going to need to value those assets as of the decedent's date of death. For financial records, that means locating bank statements as of the decedent's date of death. For real estate and business interest, that means hiring an appraiser who can value the real estate and business interest as of the date of death. This brings us to our next important step, which is obtaining a taxpayer ID for the trust and hiring a CPA who can file both the final returns for the decedent and trust tax returns if needed. If the trust estate includes real estate, you're going to want to record documents in the county in which the property is located, letting them know the decedent has passed away and that you are now the successor trustee of the trust. This will help you clear title to the real estate. Step 9, as successor trustee, you also are required to identify all the debts of the decedent. So that means credit card debt, medical debt, and you're required to pay that down using the trust funds. We advise that you hold back some of the trust funds for future liabilities or debts that may arise. So the last step, ideally, is that we have a final trust distribution, meaning all of the assets of the trust are distributed down to the people they're supposed to go to. In best case scenario, we have everybody sign an agreement saying everything was done correctly and waiving and releasing any claims against each other so no one can come back later and try and sue each other. So this is just a broad overview of the process, and I know it's a very challenging time to lose a loved one. There's a lot of stressful things that can arise during this process, and I strongly encourage you to hire an experienced attorney that can take some of that burden off your plate. We at TLD Law are happy to help you with that process, so go ahead and give us a call.